I, it's not an easy profession because you don't. I mean, you have to take. I personally feel that from the beginning, I've always taken one step at a time. We didn't. It's not like we want to glorify what happened and all of that. We more like want to tap into the personal space of IF. Interacted with Air Force pilots and all of them, and especially the director when he narrated to me. I mean, technically he was fighting for his country, but not for India. So he said, Varun, I've seen my best friends die in front of my eyes. That could have been me any day. So when I've seen death, which is like the ultimate thing, right?
And
Thoda theek hai Hindi. It's not very good, but I've did put some efforts into getting my Hindi better.
I'm joined by the lead actor Varun Tej. Thank you so much for speaking with us.
Hi, thank you.
First of all, congratulations. This is going to be a huge project going ahead. It treads lightly on the Pulwama attacks that had taken place. Tell us a bit more about the film and what got you interested in it in the first place.
I mean, generally, while picking any film, there are multiple aspects that would push you towards picking that. When it comes to Operation Valentine, I mean, as a kid, I've always been I'm an action film lover. But again, I mean, obviously all of us are patriots. We all love our country and all. But I used to watch a lot of Western films, like Saving Private Ryan, Behind the Enemy Lines, all these army films like Top Gun and all of that. Somewhere we have our rooted stories that are happening in our country, which people have very less information about. We do know the outline of what happened, but behind that, there's a lot of struggle, there's a lot of tension, there's a lot of planning that goes behind going on any op. So we didn't. It's not like we want to glorify what happened and all of that. We more like want to tap into the personal space of IF, the personal spaces of the Air Force pilots or the defenses. I mean, in this movie, it was the IF. So we want to tap into their personal side, how their mindset was before going on to such an op, or how they balance their work and personal life. So there are multiple angles that we try to tap in this film, and definitely we got inspired by what happened in 2019.
Right.
I mean, as an individual, I consume a lot of news, but I knew what happened in 2019. I knew how India retaliated on the 26th of February 2019. But I just knew I just had very little information about what happened. So when I interacted with Air Force pilots and all of them, and especially the director when he narrated to me, he had gathered a lot of information about what happened back then. So when I heard all of that, I thought, it's important for people to know the struggle and what our defenses go through. And it's like a tribute to the sacrifices they make. And them being the selfless people who leave their families and go to the borders and are protecting our motherland. So there are a bunch of things like this, and the passion of the director to make a film on the Indian Air Force. And definitely beyond all of this, it's the emotion that is there in the script which really drove me towards picking this film.
You've already launched your first attack. This first song has also been released in a sense, and your movie set to release on March 1st. Patriotic feeling aside, what's something that the audience can grasp from the film? Is there a new side of Varun Tej that they can look at? I
mean, definitely, this character is going to showcase something I've never tried before. It is a little unique in its own way, playing an Air Force pilot or playing a soldier. I've done something on these lines, but not like this, but not so real like this. I played a soldier fighting for the British in my second film. Technically he was fighting for his country, but not for India. So this is something which is more rooted, which is more deeply I connected to it while listening to it. Other than this, I think, other than what people expect from me, people expect a little novelty in my films. They want to see, they expect that, there's something new that is going to come out of every film of mine. See, I usually people misinterpret and they think that all these are experiments. They're not experiments. Maybe this backdrop of an Air Force is something new, but the emotion in it, the patriotic angle in it, or the hard work of the soldiers that we're trying to show, that is not something new or alien to our audience also.
Right.
It's especially Telugu also.
Right.
And other than this, we wanted to, we want to influence people in the right way. When they see a story of a soldier or of the heroics of what our real heroes do, I think that can really influence people in the right way. Maybe give them a lot of courage, which they can apply in multiple ways. I think those are many of the aspects that pushed us towards making this film and what people can expect from this.
There was a long, well-deserved break that you took. You got married. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
And people had expected that there's going to be one or two films of yours that are still yet to make bank. And this film, luckily, it's going to be released now. What is the was there any specific training that you had to take forth for getting yourself into this role as an IF pilot?
100%. There was a lot of work and research that went into playing this role. Because, see, definitely there should be depth in terms of characterization, which should be on paper. Other than that, certain things like body language or how an Air Force pilot behaves, talks or walks, for that you have to grasp and keep your ears open and eyes open and try to, see from things around you. Because IAF is not, they don't promote themselves so much. You have very limited information about them or pilots and all of that. So luckily, other than, there is a physical aspect to this of training and looking like an Air Force pilot, which required a lot of training, diet and all of that. That is one part, and the other part is when you actually wear the shoes of the Indian Air Force, of the Air Force pilot, and when you behave like one. So for that, we got a lot of time. I should say we're very lucky to have met real-life fighter pilots, and we've spent many hours with them.
I think on February 14th, you had also gone.
We went to the Pulwama Memorial. Yes.
And how was it interacting?
We met the CRPF battalion there, the 185th battalion, and they were really kind enough because, see, the thing is, it was not to milk something out of going to Pulwama on 14th, and it was truly, honestly, we were making this film out of passion, and other than that, to give a tribute to our soldiers or who have martyred on the 14th of February. So it was like a tribute. We wanted to go there, give say our prayers to them, and it was a really emotional moment when we went there, and it's a good experience also. Trying to understand what actually went and where it happened and all of that. To know and see it firsthand, it was something very nice.
First time you're going to be going into the Hindi and Hollywood, the Hindi side of films as well. How was your experience? Aapka Hindi, how good is it? And
Thoda theek hai Hindi. It's not very good, but I've did put some efforts into getting my Hindi better. So I did some diction classes.
So it was a conscious effort.
Yeah, 100%. And it's not like I'm not familiar with Hindi, but I'm from Hyderabad, so there's a lot of Hindi-speaking guys. But sadly, growing up, all of my friends are Telugu, and my family we speak in Telugu, and maybe converse a little in English. It's mostly Telugu, so I never really got the hang of speaking fluent Hindi. I do understand because of the films and all of that. But as my director is a Hindi-speaking man, I thought it is very important for us to shoot the film in Hindi also because that's fine.
So sorry.
No, that's fine.
Sorry.
No problem.
Sorry.
As I told you, my director is a Hindi-speaking man. So when we were shooting, I thought it was quite, because any movie is a director's vision, and I thought it was quite important that we film it in Hindi because he understands what is going through. Because if it's a different language, right? Again, he needs someone or the other to convey what happened or the emotion or whatever it is. So that's the reason we thought we'll shoot it in Hindi and Telugu also. Because I hail from here, and the initial idea when we started this film was to make it in Telugu. Then when the producers jumped in and Sony got in, Sidhu got in, we figured that this film has a universal appeal. It can resonate with a lot of people across the country.
Right.
And then we figured, as Sony has an amazing distribution team, a network, we thought it's the right way to go. And for that, we did Hindi learning and so. But the thing is, every actor is confident about his craft, what he can do. So even I was quite confident. I thought, okay, I can just learn Hindi for a couple of months. I'll nail it. I'll go there. I'll just do my lines. I can just fly with it easily. But as I went there, I was obviously practicing Hindi more because I'm not that confident in Hindi as I was in Telugu. So to shuffle from one language to another when you're shooting it simultaneously, it got quite difficult. Because the script is different, the timing of this dialogues are different, and occasionally when we do the Hindi lines, when it's an emotional scene, it's a long monologue, snap, suddenly we would get a Telugu dialogue in between, or while doing Hindi we would get a Telugu dialogue or a Telugu Hindi dialogue. I mean, it was tough to move from one language to another. But I think finally we pulled it off with a little bit of difficulty, but we were happy that we accomplished it within the time that we had.
How is it working with the director? What is the kind of experience overall that you had?
The three things to the director. I mean, first when I heard it, I mean, obviously, because I'm in a decent position in the industry, sometimes I want to work with young talent. So when Shakti approached me with the script, I mean, obviously, as I told you, what made me pick the script. Other than that, I believe, with a certain experience from my past, I believe that it's very important to know if the director is that passionate to tell this story. And not just because it's an opportunity for him to make a film. I want the director to be hands-on, completely engrossed into making and delivering this particular film. And that I could clearly see through Shakti's vision, through his eyes. I could understand how passionate he was to make this film on IF and this movie called Operation Valentine. So he did his bits of research, and other than that, he's a VFX supervisor. As this
this
movie
has a lot of
it's quite heavy and intensive on VFX. So when your director is pretty well versed with that craft, it gets your job easy, and he can understand. He can see the renderation, and the iterations, and just see what is going wrong. He can understand why it's looking a little fake, and even small inputs that go through him, because he's so well versed with the craft. It kind of helped our work and our VFX to come out very well.
Especially when talking about the world of VFX, recently a lot of these films that have just launched, they've also had quite interesting setup. Be it the nationalism side on one angle and the VFX on the other. This is going to be an amalgamation of all things that makes it drama, and it's going to be action-packed. Is it going to be anything that different that's going to stand apart from what people have already seen?
I think I personally feel that every film is on its own, and see, even though there are other war films being made or other aerial combat films being made, which a few of them came out recent past, it's a direct. Our interpretation of what happened, or the incidents that the events where we based the film on, I think we have a very own interpretation of what happened. So I think I can't speak for others, but we took a very realistic approach, and we never tried to rush into anything. We wanted to go into the utmost detail and try to explain people, because it's not an easy language for people to understand. And we don't want to dumb it down also, because we feel that audience is smart enough to understand. And so for us, primary goal was the emotion of the film, which is very important for any movie to work. I think if that emotion is in the front line, all the VFX, your acting, everything falls in place. I think we really are sure and confident that this film is going to be very, very high on emotion. Definitely the action, definitely the highs, the patriotism and all of that, but the emotion that we're going to evoke in the theatres tomorrow is going to give people a really good high.
How was it working with your co-star?
It was fantastic, and both of us were struggling on sets. I mean, she was struggling to get a Telugu, and vice versa. I was trying to struggle getting my Hindi. I mean, she's a very dedicated actress, and I mean, definitely, because we had a complete Telugu crew, often people would walk up to her, give her instructions in complete Telugu, and forget that she doesn't understand and walk away. And we had these fun moments on set when all this happened. Otherwise, for us, when we picked, when we were considering about who to play for the role of Ahana Gill, other than the actress looking good and all of that, for us it's very important for her to suit the role, and she fits in perfectly to the role that we wrote in this film, and she's done a phenomenal job. I mean, really, really hardworking. on set. I mean, of course, we had our lighter moments on set. There was fun and all of that. But when it comes to work, when you have the script in your hand, I think she's a very serious actor. And you can see that, you know, she's not taking the jobs lightly. She takes it very, very seriously. And, you know, I think she has a broader vision. And, you know, she puts in that effort as an actor to, you know, deliver what is required from her.
We've seen brilliant movies of yours, be it Fida or several others. We've seen the kind of image that was portrayed. Is this, Operation Valentine, a film that's going to be breaking your comfort zone, as people call it, or do you think has it challenged you in a good way?
I mean, as an actor, I think you learn with every film. Like, definitely, there is something. There are a lot of, you know, subtlety that you learn from a character like Fida, which I played, which is very emotional and very vulnerable.
Yeah.
When it moves, every film, I think as an actor, you kind of take away and learn something about your craft from every film and with the new kind of people that you work with. Be it a seasoned director, be it a new director, still you as an actor, I think it's very important to keep your to accept and, you know, take in criticism and learning from others, be it big or small. I think from Shakti also, in fact, I've learned quite a bit. Like, he kept pushing us to deliver the best. You need someone to push in the right angle also. As you said, they're a director. They need to direct you to the right, to emote to the T. Definitely, there's a learning. It's definitely going to be new on its own. As I said, the characterization of the story, of the film, the premises, everything is completely different. It is going to be different, but I think, I mean, obviously, as every movie you mature as an actor, I personally feel I'm very confident and very happy with. Usually, I'm very critical about my work, but I've seen what I've done in this film, and I'm not saying I killed it or something, but people will probably tell how I did my job. But I think I was extremely happy with the way my act has panned out in the film.
You've given opportunities to newcomers in this field and this movie as well. It's the director itself, he's made his first steps into this. Is this a gateway for you to open up to newcomers and upcoming stars to shine and be welcomed into the film media?
I think that's always there. I mean, obviously, first, the thing is the script should speak. I mean, as I told you earlier, that I like working with young blood and young guys. I mean, the industry is evolving at a very fast pace, and new ideas, and, you know, even audience, the way they're consuming films today, totally changing and ever evolving. So when you have youngsters coming in the industry, I think it's always a refreshing change. They kind of break the stereotypes of what cinema was, or what we thought this was cinema, but, you know, you see someone new coming in, breaking all those stereotypes, and, you know, and showing different paths for new filmmakers and actors like us. I mean, when you're in a respectable position, when you have a certain market, I think other than just working with big directors, that will happen. As in, it always, again, I personally feel that a script will always find its actor and your name is written on it before it reaches you. But working with young guys, I think I kind of have fun because we have a back and forth, we discuss about things. I mean, as I love working with senior directors also. But I think it's a welcoming change, and I think new talent is required everywhere, not just in the film industry. I think in any profession, I think you need newcomers to come in and, you know, make a change.
What's one takeaway from Operation Valentine that you would say was a thing that was for you touching your heart? One takeaway.
As a person, I mean, as an actor, there are a bunch of things. I mean, obviously, like discipline or whatever it is. But I mentioned this in a couple of other interviews. I made an interview with a wing commander, an ex-wing commander. So I always had this idea or thing in my head that, you know, people working in the military or on the Air Force are usually very stubborn, or they're very strict, and they kind of don't smile a lot, or they're very, you know. And when I went and met them while shooting for this film in Gwalior, I kind of saw the way they were behaving, and I thought they looked very, very normal and very jovial and very happy, very easygoing. They do take their job super seriously, but only when it comes to other things, you know, they're very chill. So I questioned this man. I asked him, "Sir, I had a completely different opinion about you guys. I thought you guys, I mean, obviously you're great, selfless people. All that has never changed. But I thought you guys are very serious. I never thought you'd crack a joke and laugh or do something like this. Then he was saying usually when they, apparently when they fly, they're usually responsible for each other's lives and all of that. It's on, when they go on any op or any mission. So he said, Varun, I've seen my best friends die in front of my eyes. That could have been me any day. So when I've seen death, which is like the ultimate thing, right? Nothing scares us anymore. And we understand what life is and we understand the value of life. So we don't stress about certain small things, small egos, a small creed or anything. So we try to live, we take life as it goes. We don't take anything too seriously other than a job. So that's the reason we don't get anything into our head.
True.
We don't dwell about small, minute things that we, on a day-to-day basis, maybe my friend said something, my mom didn't like something I did. You hold these grievances in your heart. He said the life is too short, so you need to enjoy life, and it's quite important, and not to dwell on small things which are not in your control. And giving 100% at work again. So these are small things that I've really learned from them, and it really moved me. You understand when you see death.
True.
Nothing is beyond that, right? Then you understand that all these small things that I'm having in my heart or my head, they're so stupid. So you don't stress on unnecessary things, and you put your focus and your energies into something that really matters.
Training for playing the role of an IAF pilot, that takes a lot of research that goes into it. Apart from what is usually going to be your physical training attributes, what was the kind of research that you went into, and especially when it comes to be it the specific type of jet that you might be looking at?
Honestly, all that research was done by my director.
Okay.
Majorly about the technical part of the film, about how to play it and all. I've met people, and for me the biggest challenge for me was when we were shooting the VFX part, when we were doing the flying shots. See, certain things in my previous films I've experienced breakups or things with friends or emotional things with my family, so I know how to react to certain situations like that when I'm acting. Flying is something I've never experienced, and going at 2,000 kilometers per hour, and I was like, and when I'm supposed to act like I'm flying at 2,000 kilometers per hour or like more or less than that, and pulling 9 Gs, the reaction time of mine or something was something that I couldn't see somewhere and react and learn. So for that, luckily the Air Force, the Indian Air Force in Gwalior Air Base, they let us use a simulator. So so I did a week-old training in that. For about 2 hours a day. So it kind of, after the first 2-3 minutes, you actually feel like you're sitting in a cockpit and flying a real jet. So it has a round projection. And I think, so there we do the landings, takeoffs, and some dog fights and mid-air refueling and all of that. I think so when you go on a 2,000 kilometer per hour speed and you're having another jet that's crossing another 2,000 kilometers per hour, you should know how to react and all of that, right? So I think those workshops that I did with them, the simulator especially, that really helped me to pull off this part. Otherwise, my reaction time has to be quick.
Yeah.
So for that, you need to experience it, and I think that really helped me to pull off this role. Yeah.
A last question to you. You're often called as the prince of Tollywood. We've seen a lot of your films. What's next on the line for you?
I already started this movie called Matka.
Yes.
So it's basically back in the 80s, there was an actual game called Matka. It's called Bracket. It was like a big scam that happened back then. So it's like lottery. So I'm basically we're making a film based on those events of what happened back then, how people struggle with this gambling aspect. So it's a mafia film made on this gambling backdrop.
Nice.
It's relatively new. There's nothing more I can tell you about it, but it's pretty exciting stuff. And I play a complete different character from this. This guy loves the nation. That guy is he's very greedy, and all he thinks about is himself. So it's a very grey shade. Sometimes when you play these grey shades, you get to experiment. You get to push the boundaries even more. Like, you have limitations for characters like this.
True.
For those you don't have. And as an actor, I think I'm truly lucky to be playing something like this and getting a role like the one I'm playing in Matka. Very excited about that.
Last question to you. Has the entire journey so far been easy? And be it all of your films,
Right.
amalgamation to this Operation Valentine? Has it been easy so far, and how do you feel?
It's not an easy profession because you don't. I mean, you have to take. I personally feel that from the beginning, I've always taken one step at a time. Never got ahead of myself. I always wanted the foundation to be really strong. I think that's the reason I've made certain choices that I've made are because of that. And I'm quite happy with the way things have panned out so far. And I'm still learning. I think this is a craft where you never stop learning. You always keep learning in this. And I'm very glad with the choices I've made, with the directors I've worked with, and with the kind of success I've got, with the learnings I've got, the things I've learned from this, everything. It's been great.
All right, thank you so much
Thank
for
you so
speaking
much.
with us. That was Operation Valentine, all set to launch on March 1st. Speaking with me was the lead actor there, Varun Tej. It's going to be a brand new character that we're going to be looking at. This is Apurva Jayachandran signing off.